Welcome all, and I thank you for taking your time. And I know it's an awkward time, August. Some of you could actually have to break your holidays to make yourself here, and I thank some of you who took that option. If your wives are not happy, you've got Raymond's number, and he can deal with that. We're a bit tight today. There is an agenda, or at least there's a program laid down on all the tables. We're making small variations. Invariably, they are in clusters. We'll open up with Dr. Tahir, and I wouldn't bother with biodata. Forgive me. It's just that it's all there. It's all in print, and take your time to read it. So by and large, within Tahir, Akhtar, we will have two other speakers in that cluster. Dr. Suhail Chugtai, have I got that right? Thank you. And Mr. Mohsen Ali. Yeah, he's a tall gentleman who's in the shadows at the moment, and he will compliment Dr. Tahir. Then soon, right after that, we will have William Venkoot from Luxembourg, and William is going to start off with service, because the whole theme here is service. So each person would, within that list of speakers, would actually talk around a service provision. And it's a question of how you will learn to apply that service. And of course, William is from the Adam Global stable. Then we break off from Adam Global and we join the fun and games. So this would be the McMillan crowd. And we will start off with Ramesh Kumar. And then within that, we will have Sri Ramani. I will not go into any great details about exactly what they're going to talk, because they're going to do just that. And then we will finish off with Philip Vasey. Philip Vasey is right here, that's good. And then we will have a little ceremony. And hopefully we might manage that just before it turns to 1, so that we want to have our lunch while it's still hot.
You forgot Vanessa?
Sorry?
Vanessa giving a speech.
Of course, Alexander. Yes. Where is Alexander? You should be in front of me, not behind me. And of course, there is Alexander on. Well done, well spotted. I think I was just rushing, trying to get down to be off the stage. And invariably what we do, we will have, and Alexander's been superb. I think she's been assisting in putting all the paraphernalia together. Anyway, so very quickly, then we will have a signing ceremony. Presumably we'll do it over this desk here. And then soon after that, there will be a press release to the world and forever. And that's really where we are. So can I get the ball rolling? So are we ready?
Are we starting?
We're starting with Dr. Tahir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a slight correction. You use the word "we break off from Adam Global." We don't. We take a breather.
That's a good point.
This is a wonderful conference. Yeah. You know what? When I say sink, you sink. Yes. So anyway, Dr. Tahir, the floor is yours. So
thank you.
Enjoy it.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Good morning.
With Macmillan members, with the Macmillan's London meeting. So I'm very delighted and very grateful and thankful to Raymond as the chairman to have invited me, to Jayapal, and to all the rest of the team that is present here. We had fabulous time yesterday when we all met in informal as well as in formal surroundings to work together, try to find ways of enhancing services to our members, which is when I say our from here onwards, it means McMillan Wood and Adam Global. So they are all together our members. Team is services, so thank you, Lutfi, for starting it off, and I will continue on how we are a service provider and how we can provide better service to all our members, and how our members can then provide better service because of what we are able to assist them with to their clients. So here we are, all of us, yesterday in the glorious Caledonian Club. After a few whiskies, we all look very happy. Adam Global, we are delighted to say that Adam Global is the top 100 recognized brand in the world. And here is young CEO who was getting this award quite recently in Dubai. Adam Global is network of networks. So it is the first of its kind network that brings together service provider networks from around the world. So it's the first of its kind, and of course it is the biggest, and the plan from now onward is to stay ahead, and so far we have no competition. So Adam Global as such, as a network of professionals, is a network of multidisciplinary professionals. So it is not a specific or a profession-driven network. It is a network of multiple professionals. Criteria to enter the membership of Adam Global is the professional must be regulated by a regulating body within their country. As long as they are regulated, they could apply. It does not mean that they will get the membership, but they are eligible to apply. And then there's a very stringent process of due diligence, which is applied by our CEO's team to then invite them to become members once they fulfill the criteria. So our members can be from lawyers to accountants, to doctors, to architects, all of the professionals, finance professionals, all of the professionals that are regulated by a regulating body can become our members. Easy way to understand Adam Global is to understand that we are the Amazon of professional services. When people want to buy quality goods, guaranteed service, and they want to be able to source anywhere in the world, they go to Amazon. So Adam Global is the Amazon of professional services. So at a certain point, we will be the provider of services to the customers, B2C. However, to get to that point, we have started to build a market. So our market really is the whole world. So first of all, we've covered the geography. We are now present in all the continents of the world. Our next step was to create depth in the services that are provided. So we now today have all of the professions that would be necessary to say that we are provider of a complete service to our members. So at this point we are B2B. And next thing in this is then going, once we have all the members and we have got the depth, over the next few years we will be then going B2C, allowing customers to then access all of our professionals, including all of the professionals in McMillan Wood from around the world, not from one part of the world, and all that is driven by technology. So we are technology driven, technology facilitated, and we are ahead of the curve compared to all the other service providers and the networks. However, we take great pride in human interaction. Human interaction is most important for us. So interactions, we know that for any person to remember anyone else, it takes 2.4 full interactions for you never to forget anyone. In this busy world, where we are constantly struggling to keep track of the time, and even with all the travel that is possible, we're not able to meet all the people around the world that are going to refer business to you or that will get referrals from you. So we have designed a way of cutting that 2.4 interactions to 0.4 interactions. So we will do 2 of the interactions while you are still in your own office, in your own home, in your own country. So by the team making those interactions by web interactions, there are specific specialist interest groups. They meet regularly. There are specific regional groups that they meet regularly, and they are as if they are face to face, however they are at different parts of the world. All technology driven, but allowing the human interface. Then there is presence of your own membership coordinator managers that are your managers that are constantly in touch with you. They are all the time looking at opportunities that you have or that you may want to have, and they are allowing you to then interact with appropriate members within the whole of the international network. Beyond that, there are regional meetings, and in that regional meeting, though the regional partners do take part, but the others are invited too. So we had the regional meeting, last meeting was here in London, and then we had the regional meeting in China, which was a great success, and our annual meeting is going to be in Dubai at the end of this month. So it is creation of human interaction, personal interaction, one-to-one. However, it is facilitated greatly by technology. And how does the technology work? We are connected. You are connected. And you are on and connected 24/7. This, if you could see on your mobile phone, on your smartphone, you have, there's an app, and there's more about it from our technical advisor, Dr. Chuktai. But once you are on, you download the app, you are on and connected with all of the members. You can connect with them and details will follow to you. You can chat with them, talk to them, exchange files with them. You are in a very secure environment. So you are in a secure environment whereby you can connect and communicate all the time with your fellow members. Beyond that, we also have, there is a formal meeting room that is available to all of you, which is called the Adam Digital Office. Adam Digital Office, and more about it from Dr. Chuktai, is your office. This is your office. In this office, you could do absolutely everything that you could do sitting on your side of the table. So instead of the table between you and your client or your member colleague, you have a screen. So you are on this side of the screen, and on the other side of the screen is the person you're interacting with, and you can have absolutely all the interaction that you could have, right up to shaking hands, but they will not be physical. So that is how up to 25 members currently in a groups, they can interact with each other for various meetings. It could be just one-to-one, or you could use this to talk directly to your client. So you could use this, you can invite your client to come in and talk to you one-to-one. It's secured. It is not public. It is our own secured bandwidth, secured network, and you can, up to the point of exchanging and signing the legal documents, you could do all of it on this. So you're on, you're connected, and you are in your office 24/7 as far as the clients are concerned. It allows, because of the fact that we are a global network, it allows your members who are in other jurisdictions, who are in other time zones, who are unable to talk to you at the time when you're sleeping, to arrange meetings with you at a time that is convenient. Now, why technology? Why did we spend so much of our effort on technology? We understood from long time ago that technology was the solution for us to connect and stay connected. This is one paper from McKinsey, and if you could look at this is the time spent communicating on electronic tools on day-to-day work. And if you look at this, what's happening in terms of trend, that emails, if you look at it, so the respondents at companies using the message-based platform, and the respondents at companies that are not using the message-based platform. So this is exactly what I've shown you earlier. So those that are on message-based platforms, they would use less emails, they will use the phone less frequently, they will then be collaborating, team collaborations will be high, and there's online videos and other services. But main thing for you to all to see is that a team collaboration, that's passing referrals, talking about opportunities, is high in those companies that have platform-based the communications softwares. If you look at it, it is another paper from McKinsey, in which now if you see, it looks at the extent to which the social tools are integrated into the employee's day-to-day work. And if you look at this, in 2016, I mean, you can see the trend that they are being integrated more and more into your routine work. And those that were here that had in the beginning, there were very little use of technology. If you look at this, there's huge technology change. And we, as the service provider to you as McMillan Wood, as your collaborators, as your partners, as your your facilitators, we will be able to keep you here, whereby your teams, your employees, your members can use the technology that is allowing them to be more productive and allowing them to use less time to achieve the same result. I like McKinsey work, so here's another example from McKinsey. And if you look at this, the adoption of social technologies, if you look at the social networks, blogs and wikis, here are the social networks. As the years have gone past, there is increase in the use of social networks, that us, all of us, the networks, and in that the trends are upwards. And then if you look at the use by customer partners and internal use, once again, internal use is projected to continue to go up, but all customers and partners all are using this kind of technology more and more. And lastly, the benefits of adapting this kind of technology is that the access, there's a reduction in cost, and it allows you to optimize your processes. Are you okay to see? I'm sorry, maybe I'm standing in front of you, yes? I want to take you back to 1971. This is a book which Cyrus Freedom, he wrote in 1970s, in which he said, at that time, he said that there is going to be a revolution. There will be a revolution. There will be a transformation of how the services are provided. And it will be consolidation, it will be collaboration, it will be networking. And the networks, once they're developed, that will create $1 trillion enterprise. And today, you and us and everybody is part of that $1 trillion enterprise. These are the professional networks. Stephen McGarry, he wrote a very elegant book on networks relevant to lawyers. He knows a thing or two about legal networks because he created 3 of the world's largest legal networks. The gist of it all is that there are 200 networks, legal networks, at the time of him writing the book, and their members had revenues in excess of $400 billion. It's not the big 4. We're not talking about the accountants. We're talking about the lawyers. Only the ones that were in the networks. All the others that are not in the networks, not included in this. So this is your $1 trillion empire that you're a part of. Let's look at what is happening to the world. Most important to see where the world is going. So if we look at this, that by 2050, the global population would have grown by almost 50%. So there are 50% more people that are going to be in this world by 2050. 70% of them are going to then live in cities. So all those that are today not our clients, a lot more of them will become our clients as professionals. Infrastructure, if you look at it, the emerging markets, their infrastructure will develop tremendously compared to the developed markets. And if you look at the share of the construction, again, emerging markets are going to be, they are going to create clients for us. So our overall client numbers are going to grow. Now this is a bit more soft sort of feeling of how professionals feel. And I'll give you some quotes here. It says, the big clients are moving towards using one-stop shop, global service providers. The profession will have to keep in line with that. These are the architects. I think we need to stop being overly polite and learn how to be business people. We have this cultural challenges, but all that can be overcome by technology. And the chief executive of a global consultancy firm said, I think the entire range of middle-sized practices from about 25 to 150 people will be gone. They will be decimated. And we'll end up with two very distinct types of practices at each end of the market. So you'll have small boutiques, and then you will have a lot of them coming together as merged practices. I want to share with you some examples of this. So if you look at this, and I'll give you, I know you know everything about the accounting network, so I'm not going to go in there. I'll talk to you about your potential referral partners. So these are the lawyers. So networks, they are driven by technology and by multi-jurisdictional work. For professionals, by 2025, 25% of their income will come from more than 2 jurisdiction network contracts. Currently, it forms less than 1% of the practice work. It will be a significantly increased trans-border 3 jurisdiction or more contract work that you'll have to do as we progress. There is going to be a consolidation. Networks are going to be consolidated. Networks are dying today of professionals, and they will die in the future unless they are going to come into consolidation. In terms of law practice, there's only going to be 4 large dominated groups that will survive. Remember, we started with 200. So in the coming decade, there are going to be only 4 reasonable sized networks that will survive. This is not my data. And we can look at some examples. Here are some of the large companies. We know the Chadbourne. Now, they have already merged with Chadbourne and Park, creating a new legal entity. We can look at Evershed, one of the largest firms, and they pay $120,000 for membership only in the North America of one of the networks. Even they have now merged, and we have a new entity, which is the Evershed and Sutherland. Similar thing continues with Norton Rose. You all know about these firms. So Norton Rose have also now merged with Fulbright. So consolidation is happening today. 200 legal network to 4 main network will remain. That is also being done at the firm level, that the firms are merging. So they will also become something like the Big 4. So, Adam Global is a network, the only one of its kind. We are driven by quality. We are proud to do a great due diligence and compliance. We are technology savvy. We've invested heavily in technology, and we are driven by technology. We are miles ahead of anybody else. But most importantly, we are a collaborator. We collaborate, and I'm delighted to be here in this collaboration room with McMillan Woods. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Right, of course, now we will have Suhail.
As Dr. Akhtar said, communication. And I just want to start with something very important. And I think this line is the take-home message. I want to give it now, and I want to give it towards the end of these few slides. Video is the next email. Please remember that. Email is gone. It's in the shelves. It's the video. Because that is EQ and IQ both. People communicate with people when they want to do business together. Email hides you. Video exposes you. Video tells you who you are. And that is why video is the next email. So my background is I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I'm also a Microsoft certified specialist. And that is what brings me here today. I developed many products, many projects as well. Web TV, my TV is covering this today as live as well. Medical legal company, a web broadcasting services which has live video embedding as a specialty. And then Medical City Online, that's the medical division of this company. But today I will represent Adam Global, and I'm proudly part of this huge organization, and I'm glad that I'm actually working with them on a very significant role. So as Dr. Akhtar said, that Adam Interact is the mobile application. Adam Digital Office is the desk-based application. So this is your home office, this is your office. You want to stay at home, you want to spend Christmas at home, but you still want to work, you can have your office. Or you want to work on the fly, you're traveling, sitting at the airport lounge, still want to close a transaction, that's your office. And I think this line is important. Live streaming to be catalyst for new business models. Dr. Akhtar has explained it very well in his data and slides. 128% emerging market. That is the growth rate of emerging market. People are hungry for technology. People love technology. People have got great hunger in almost 75% of the world to buy technology library. So, just want to show you some slides and screenshots of Adam Global's Adam Online, Adam Digital Office. If you visit the website, if you go to Adam Online, as you click there, you have video consultation room. And that is your ADO, Adam Digital Office. So you can make an account there. As you register there, you will be given a login, a bandwidth dedicated to you with 7 international nodes with a latency of 0.5 seconds to connect. Because of the 7 digital nodes, you can handshake in 0.5 seconds. So you're closer to my node anywhere in the world. So that 0.5 second latency gives you 720p HD video quality. Because of the algorithms, we use Netflix type technology. We microbit the technology, pass it through the narrow bandwidth. You give us half a megabyte upload, we are through 720p. So 720p HD is going to be relayed by half a megabyte upload in almost 90% of the mobile carriers in the world. They give you half a megabyte upload on the data only, without using internet. So if you short off internet, your mobile data will give you 0.5 megabyte upload, 90% of the mobile carriers in the world. So you're good enough. So as you click there, you will have the greeting message. And as you scroll further down, you will have this Adam Global Office where you can do meetings. So this person is hosting, these two are the guests, and he's sharing slides. And he has the marking tools, not shown here, but he has got the marking tools. He can go through the slides. He can give control to these people to monitor the slides. So up to 24 people can have a collaborative. This meeting can be held on this office. We have done it many times. So 24 people can share the slides. I put my slides here, 1 to 15 my slides, 16 to 22, present on 2, and then so forth. They can keep taking over turns, and they can start explaining. And then you can do business transactions. A company, we've given it to a company, an accounting company in London, who are dealing with oil business in Nigeria, because the company, they wanted London-based accounting. Immigration law firms, there is so much going on. People don't have to open new offices. This is your office. Save the money and invest into digital technology. So you can move through the slides and you can go through all of them. I think I want to actually show some technology live here in 2-3 minutes. Probably the best impact is that my slides are finished. I've kept my promise of 5 minutes, but I want to show that technology hands-on in 2-3 minutes.
So, while Suhail is getting organized, let me introduce you to Mohsen Ali, who is the CEO of Adam Global, and he's the all-knowing man. So let's hear from him.
Right. For those of you who don't know me, actually, we had a good session yesterday. But those of you who don't know me, my name is Mohammed Mohsen Ali, and I am the CEO of Adam Global. I think so much of it has already been explained by our chairman, Dr. Tahir Akhtar. But I would just like to add on to this technology that we're going to introduce here. And there is going to be a post showcase announcement that I'll be doing shortly as well. So I believe if
Can you say something about the November function you have?
right, we have our annual meeting this year to be held in Dubai, UAE. The dates that we have set are for 24th and 25th of November. We will be sharing a detailed agenda. In fact, much of it is available online on our website, but we will be sharing more information on that. This event is focused more about bringing our global members to a single location for them to network, firstly. Second, we are going to have even regional players that are going to be present for our members to interact with. So local businesses, local community members will also be present during those 2 days events. And one thing that happens actually in any of our annual general meetings is the fun element, where we actually go about and have a session between our members. We go around and explore various aspects of the city. Well, actually, I'll share more details on that with you by email. I think so. Enough is being said here. So I'll just share the information, and all of our McMillan Woods members are welcome to be with us at the annual general meeting.
Right, well done, Mohsen. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
So,
So now we are.
it's best to call this technology. There is some barrier to the screen sharing software there.
I see.
But what I do is I'll call these 2 phones, and I can give this phone to Raymond. I'll call Raymond.
You heard that, doctor? Just get me this for the kid.
So let's call Dubai office. I'll connect you to Dubai office, and then you can.
Well, I'm already.
Okay.
So actually, if you would like.
So this is the guy in Dubai, and you can see yourself on that, and you can transfer files.
I'm fine, thank you. And you? I thought I'm going to see multiple faces.
This is the one-to-one.
Oh, it's one-to-one.
One-to-one.
Okay.
Easy find.
This is Kevin. He's our sales executive in Dubai. So yes, you can talk to him. Hello, hi. Kevin, how are you doing? Are you all right?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Okay, fabulous. We are going to pass you around to say hello. The members may have some questions to ask you. So just say hello to them, okay? If you like, just either ask yourself or pass it around so others can see.
Your boss just said I'm going to pass you around. Where are you so I can pass you around?
He's there in front of you.
Pass you around.
Yes.
So if you try to see, and you can view the files, the quality of video on the local internet. And now I'm connected to another guy in LA.
Yes.
And you can share the files, exchange the files. This is yourself and he's watching the video.
You have a conference and 2 faces?
No, that is on the our second, which is the office software.
This is
That is the Adam Digital Office. So Adam Digital Office is where you can, it's just a conference software.
So
And
this is
one-
what is
this
main
is
office.
with you all the time. all that you can make calls and
There is an app called OVO,
Yes.
where you can communicate with up to 9 people.
yes. But that all that is not secured, is not yours. That
Yes,
is all
limit-
proprietary.
True, but at least you can communicate with 8 to 9 people at one time.
What I want to say about this is, it works in Emirates. WhatsApp doesn't work in Emirates. Skype doesn't work in Emirates. It works in almost all the countries where the bandwidth is blocked, because it's a very secure bandwidth. Number two, you do not require a SIM number. You do not require a telephone number, like WhatsApp. WhatsApp, you need a telephone number. You can transfer up to 25 megabyte of file through the chat box. 35 megabyte of video file. And you can broadcast a video one way, like it's got a web TV feature. Let's say if Raymond wants to do a Christmas message on 25th Christmas in the morning, everybody will get a link in the morning. They will click the link and Raymond is talking to them like a broadcast video. They will not interact, but Raymond can interact. So you can do a training manual. You can train people on a particular course, a particular technique. So that can be one-way broadcast to the team, to the employees, all over the world. Single way. But this is two-way. You can do one-way broadcast.
China?
One to all.
China?
Anywhere.
No, one to all.
It's one to unlimited, but one way, like a web TV. Now this is video conferencing, but that's web TV. So it's got web TV, it's got webinar, it's got all three technologies in one. Plus chat box. Chat box. And then you can make groups, lawyers, accountants, finances, all of them. But I wish I could have more time to show you.
Absolutely. Anyway, Suhail will be here at lunch, so those who are very keen, please spend some time. There are
So
two tables.
use this technology. We have the phones you can use to call each other's or to call other members who have. We give you some passwords and try it, and you see. The most important thing here is that it is secured between you and your colleague. Nobody else is there other than the two people who are interacting.
You control all the chats.
You
master
control
control.
everything. And it is secured. It is not public. It is our secured, your secured way of connecting with all of the atoms, the 1,000 members when we're ready. All of them can connect to anyone that they want.
What about administrator?
So, administrative part is going to be.
Clear.
Administrative part is something that
We can share the panel, as a panel.
Thank you.
Forgive me, no questions allowed from the floor. Forgive me for this, because we need to proceed.
Yeah,
It's a long program. One last word from the sponsor.
Yes, exactly. Just a small announcement. For all of the members that are actually present here, we are going to give you this application for you to download and use this for a limited time period, where you can just like experience this thing yourself. All you have to do is I'll share with you. You can go online, in fact, and you can register. And once you register, you will receive a username and password for you to go about and use this application for the time period. But all of the McMillan Woods members are just entitled. I mean, again, we are just doing this for the after we've signed the agreement with McMillan Woods. So it's only exclusively given out to you guys.
Well done, Maxim. I like the way you threaten us. Now, first things first, that last cluster of speakers are from the Adam Global Supremo. They are the satellite boys. And I think we want to say thank you to them. And let's do it in the normal way. Never done it before? Okay, let me show you. Now the evening is taken over by members. The first member I'd like to invite is William from the Adam stable. So William is going to speak about Islamic finance. He didn't bring his skull cap today, but he will manage.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for the evening of yesterday. So, of those elements which will be never forget. First of all, we are representing Adam Global as a mid-size accounting and audit company in Luxembourg. And I would like to inform you about some non-common aspects about Luxembourg finance system. First of all, Luxembourg is a very tiny country, only 600,000 people, 300 natives, 300,000 expats. So you see all the remaining conflicts, but it's constantly rated at a AAA by all organizations, by all rating companies. It's the most multilingual country in Luxembourg, and it's the 7th most multilingual country in the world. So just as to say that everybody is highly welcome and that the things are very well. Capitalization, funds. Luxembourg is a fund company, a fund country, the second one in the world after the United States. And the values, the cumulated values of the funds are passing now 4 trillion euros. So it's growing every year by 5 to 10%. So the sky is the limit, but especially Luxembourg is profiled on private wealth and insurances. And it's, I would say, the silent winner. I'm sorry for the English people over here, but it's the silent winner of the Brexit. What's very typical is that part of Luxembourg is no longer the head or the central financing place of Europe. Due to European regulations, the Luxembourg government, which is in fact governed by the bankers, because there are 250 banks in Luxembourg, 500 responsible people, and of those 500 responsible people, only 10% have the Luxembourg nationality. So the actual Minister of Finance was the former president of the Chamber of Commerce. So you see with how it works. And what's important is that they have a big openness to the world. For instance, 70% of all Hong Kong securities are listed as well in Luxembourg. 2/3 of the Chinese debt is traded on the Luxembourg Stock Exchange as well. And we have a lot of, in Luxembourg, we have a lot of openness again for Islamic finance. What's maybe not known is that Luxembourg, as a very small country, is the 4th place in the world for capitalizing Islamic finance. The first one is Malaysia, the second one is Saudi Arabia, the third one is Iran, and the 4th one is Luxembourg. So I would say all aspects of Islamic finance can be treated, of course, by the representative of Adam Global. We have qualified people in-house, we have people of Arab culture as well, so the mixture is there, and we can help you on funds, on installations, because all funds can be Sharia compliant on a form in Luxembourg as well. On the tax rules, you know, Islamic finance has specific tax rules, no riba, participation, economy. All those rules are translated in the local tax rules as well. So there is a special tax circulars for Islamic finance. Just as to end, we have seen recently the birth of the first sovereign sukuk. I suppose that everybody around the table knows that the sukuk is an investment vehicle. The sovereign sukuk is between two states, the Luxembourg state and the Qatari state, and that's concerning about 25% of the real estate, which is at what we call it the Plateau de Kirchberg, where the most banks and European institutions are. So I would say, if you have questions on Islamic finance and would you like to come to Luxembourg, be our guest.
Absolutely, thank you. William will be joining us for lunch, and we're having lunch next door, and we can clearly expand to this room as well. There are no restrictions. So now that's to say thank you very much for the Adam Global contribution. Now we're going to break through on the Macmillan front, and I will open this up with inviting Alexandra to speak. Alexandra is going to focus on how to be a European without surgery. I know we've got doctors in the house, but they are redundant. Alexandra, all yours.
Hello my name is Alexandra, as I met yesterday. I'm based in London, and I represent two law firms. One is a Maltese law firm, Get Criticality Advocates, and the second firm is the Cypriot law firm, Sava and Associates. Both firms specialize in immigration, so citizenship and residency solutions for high net worth. So our clients are high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals from around the world who we help with obtaining Cypriot and Maltese citizenship. Also, there are other services provided, such as company formation, tax, audit, various legal services, focusing on the legal services, both in Cyprus and Malta. In Cyprus, we've got about 40 people. In Malta, over 200. I'm the only one in London. We've got a representative office at Temple, in a temple. Okay, good. So today, in the 20 minutes I have, I'll tell you about what benefits the citizenship by investment programs that Cyprus and Malta offer could have for your clients, could also have for yourself and your network of introducers as in form of referral fees. And also I will tell you about how we get our clients, because it'll be of interest to you also. Both and the clients we have are from all over the world, represented by this map showing, this is the citizenship applications from high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals from Malta. For Cyprus, the figures are similar, maybe a little more from the former Soviet Union. So here we have from the former Soviet Union 44%, Russia and former Soviet Union, this way, 26% from Middle East, about 15% from Asia, mainly China, also countries like Malaysia, Singapore, India, Africa, and North America. And North America, those who did for tax reasons. So why do people look for second citizenship? Or why do high net worth and ultra high net worth clients want to move? There's a number of reasons. Some want to get away from the countries where there's instability, or regions where there's instability, to more stable jurisdictions. A lot of clients want to move to UK or send their children to UK to study, or other European countries, because EU passport, Cypriot or Maltese, gives you the right to live, work, study anywhere in the European Union, plus Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Norway and Iceland. So a large number of our clients do that for their children, to send them to study, let's say in UK, and then to stay and work here, and or for themselves, they want to move to UK, and that mainly relates to clients from Russia, Middle East and India. There's a group, the type of clients who just want to get second citizenship, EU citizenship, just in case anything happens in their region, in their country, in their business. There's clients who want to get away from bureaucracy and corruption in their own countries and want to move their business into jurisdictions where they can conduct business in a transparent way with minimum bureaucracy. There's a number of clients who want to take tax residency of another country. For example, in Cyprus, you can become tax resident by spending only 60, or intending to spend 60 days in the country in a calendar year, and for the first 17 years you don't pay any tax on dividends, interests, royalties, and for life on proceeds from sale of securities. So you basically pay tax only on employment income. We'll cover that a little later in the presentation. And that's in Cyprus. And Malta also offers very attractive tax regime for non-dom residents, tax residents. And there are various other reasons. So each family is unique, each client is unique, and we find the best solution for each one of them. We help them find a solution. So with the as we said, for example, we start with Cypriot citizenship, which is the fastest route to EU citizenship. It takes only approximately 6 months from the start or from the submission of the application to obtaining citizenship. It allows to set the right to live, work, study in any EU country as if you were born there. And plus Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Iceland. It's transferred it's valid for life in the present generation and then transferred to your children, grandchildren, grand-grandchildren. It allows visa-free travel to our 159 countries, so we have a large number of clients who do it for that reason. They are fed up getting visas to travel everywhere on business, and they go for EU passport, which makes it easier for them. There's a couple of other benefits. It's purely an investment program. There's no requirement to give contributions to the government. You don't have to live on the island during the application process after you obtain citizenship. You only need to visit the island once to give biometric data. So that is what a lot of clients find attractive. They don't want to live in Cyprus. They want to live in UK or Switzerland or France or stay in their home country. And it's a straightforward process. You don't have to disclose source of funds, source of wealth. There's no medical testing. You don't need to pass a language exam. The only time you have to provide information about source of funds is when the client transfers 2 million euros to purchase real estate in Cyprus. That is when local bank will do their anti-money laundering. For that, you need the client needs to have a CV explaining how he earned the funds, and a letter from his bank saying the client has been, him or his business has had accounts in our bank for so many years. And in Cyprus also, if the client if the investor is 100% beneficiary of his own business, his business can transfer money to Cyprus. He can transfer money to Cyprus to purchase investment from his company, and he will get citizenship. So the couple of other points is that good property markets in Cyprus. Cyprus had a property crisis in 2013 when property prices crashed. Now property prices are growing up, and we see our investors who have purchased properties to fulfill the investment criteria, how they are making money on the investment. When in December, just an example, one of our clients who we helped with purchasing real estate, sourcing and purchasing real estate in his investment, he sold his portfolio and he made 30% up to 3 years, so which is great. And so you have to have a residency permit to obtain a passport, but you get a residency permit straight after you apply for citizenship and residency, so you get it automatically. You have to have a clean police record and purchase a residency, purchase a villa or apartment or 2 apartments that you intend to have that, and you need to have that, keep this investment in Cyprus for life. You can rent it out from day one, you can sell it and buy other properties, replace it with other properties, but at the moment you have to keep 500,000 invested in real estate in Cyprus for life to keep your citizenship. In addition to that, you have to purchase either to make another investment of 1.5 million for 3 years into real estate, or 2 million into any other form of permitted investment, like a separate company, the government bonds, alternative investment funds. And after 3 years, you can liquidate that investment. You can sell your properties, but keeping the residency, a villa or a few apartments, for life. You only need to visit Cyprus once to provide biometric data, and 6 months later, the family gets the passport. And who gets the passport? Children, husband, wife, children up to the age of 17 automatically get their citizenship. Children between 18 to 28, provided they are in some form of education, and they're financially dependent on parents. And also one set of grandparents can be included. So parents of either husband or wife were the main applicants for additional investment of 500,000 into real estate in Cyprus. So this is just a couple of examples of it. It could be portfolio villas, apartments. It can be one villa. We help our clients find real estate for their 2 million investment. We usually try to help them, suggest to them, recommend to them to buy. If they want to get out of their investment quickly after 3 years, it's best to buy small villas or apartments that locals will buy, that tourists will buy, because it'll be more difficult to sell than a villa, which costs 2, 3, 4, 5 million euros. Although we have quite a lot of ultra high net worth clients who just want to spend, I don't know, several million on a villa, just to have it sitting there and go there for a couple of weeks a year to spend some time in the sunshine with the children. So you can also invest in government bonds up to 500,000 euros and into alternative investment funds, into a separate company, provided that you have at least 5 people who have been employed, who are employed for 3 years, who've been separate on EU citizens for minimum 5 years, and residents of Cyprus for minimum 5 years. VAT applies to purchase of property. It varies from 0% on the resale properties and on some new properties, to 5% on properties that you intend to keep for personal use, and 19% on properties that you want to rent out. But there are many properties, even new properties, where there's VAT 0. And this is what the timeline looks like. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks to prepare the documents for the application, which is birth certificate, marriage certificate, and police clearance certificate from the country of origin, country of residency. At this point, before the client starts gathering documents and starts purchasing and looking for real estate, we do pre-clearance. We do it for free to the client. We take his copy of the passport and discuss with the ministry, take it to the ministry, to make sure that he's not going to be rejected. There's no rejection later. And then when we tell him, ministry tells us, yes, we are happy with based on the information available, there's not going to be rejection. And as a result, we've not had a single rejection, apart from like half a rejection. It was the very first client I found for the firm, for the Cypriot citizenship. I was so proud. It was introduced by a law firm, immigration firm in London, and by a Nigerian barrister. As soon as I told him about the Cypriot program, he said, oh, I've got a client for you, definitely, for Cypriot citizen. 2 weeks later, they flew into Cyprus to look at the properties we found for them. We've done the pre-clearance with the ministry for this client. Everything was fine, and they submitted the documents. And then, like a few weeks later, we get a call from the ministry saying we've got a problem with your client. I said, what's the problem? He's got because we've done pre-clearance here. He's got a fake marriage certificate. At that time, the application's minimum threshold was 2.5 million. So as his wife, and he was single, turned out to be single, but as his wife, he presented his cousin, some kind of like a relative, female relative, rather than paying twice 2.5 million, they decided to present themselves as a husband and wife, and just 2.5 million. Of course, she got rejected, but the ministry allowed him to continue they granted him citizenship. So that was the only time when we thought we'd have a rejection. Well, we had half a rejection. Then we find the investment of the properties for clients, submit the application, he gets a residency, 7 to 15 days after 6 months, 6 months elapses, 7 to 15 days takes to get certificate of naturalization, husband, wife, children up to the age of 18, and then children up to the 18 to 29, 6 months, 3 to 6 months later. Okay, so I can send you the information on tax residency, any information that you see here. This is how you can become tax resident in Cyprus by spending only 60 days there. And what benefits you get. I've got a more detailed overview. A couple of words on Cypriot citizenship. It's a non-refundable contribution-based program. 650,000 minimum, so that's non-refundable contribution for the husband, between 25 and 50,000 for additional family members, or non-refundable contributions. Okay, all right, and then comparison of programs, how UK. A lot of our clients get EU citizenship to come to UK to live, to study, and they can do so provided they come to UK before the end of 2020. So then, how do we get our clients? We get 90% of our clients come to us through our network of introducers. These are family offices, private banks, law firms, tax advisors around the world, and existing clients who were served. So that's 90%. So most of this 90% comes through our network of introducers, the rest from existing clients. For example, an Iranian client who we've served, who got his citizenship, Cypriot citizenship a couple of months ago. The day he got his Cypriot citizenship, he introduced his 10 colleagues, business associates, family members to us for our Cypriot citizenship program. So the introducers from around the world, they, like I said, family offices, tax advisors, law firms, individuals who work with private banks and state banks, individuals who work with high net worth individuals. But what we do is, because when they refer clients to us, we give them 20% of our legal fee for Cyprus citizenship. It's 40,000 euros our legal fee. Plus, because we help clients find real estate for his investment, we negotiate for each introducer the commission of with each developer. It averages about 5%, but it can be 10%, or in some cases more, or it can be 2 to 3%. So the introducer not only would get commission on the investment that his client makes, but on any clients that the client that they've introduces in the future. So as a result, this is how we get our clients, and I'll be happy to give more detailed information and answer further questions if of interest to you.
All right, can you all show Thank you, Alexander. Now, Alexander clearly has got a lot to say about this, and it's however easy it is, you need the professional help to make it really painless. And the good thing, of course, is Adam Global has offices in Cyprus and Malta, and of course, particularly Malta, because Adrian is here. And the aspects of accountability and taxes and everything else that may come into fruition because you might decide to make a home or even do business, the accountants can take it to the next stage. Thanks, Adrian, for being here. So Malta and Cyprus is covered. Alexandra, of course, is her connections, of course, on the legal aspect and the paperwork that entails. Our next group of speakers is Ramesh and Sri Ram, and I think they're ready to fire away. So come around this way, and we'll give you the right chair.
I'll do a brief introduction before he starts. My organization is based out of India. We have close to 1,000 people, primarily working on consulting, technology, and business process management. Very happy to work with McMillan Woods because we connect with their network and try and find business opportunity. Many a times they have client needs technology requirements or business process management requirements. So that's how we work very closely with them. The topic I'm going to cover today is slightly a fuzzy one. How do we help Macmillan in optimizing M&A cost? How do we optimize M&A cost? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So you'll see, and we have done one model. Amano is the first person who has experienced our service. So together we were able to do a cross-border deal, a Japanese company trying to purchase a company in the US, and how we went about helping them. So how do you need to see this M&A process and try to convert your fixed cost into a variable cost, and how you can optimize this cost? That's what we're going to talk about today. But as an organization, you can leverage our technology capability. Most of my clients are in the US. Close to 80% of my revenue comes from the US. I don't have much presence in Europe, but I have a strong presence in India and Asia Pac. So you can always leverage us. If you're looking at an Accenture or an Infosys or a Cognizant, you should look at us first. And we have a fairly good size in India. We have 3 locations in India. We have office in Australia. We have offices in the US where we have people working there. So that's the background. Wow. Okay. So M&A is the topic, and if that's one area of interest, then it's a very interesting, fuzzy area, how we can collaborate and work. So how we went about doing it, one success story next.
Point towards
Yeah.
This side.
No.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the laser point. That's the laser. Oh, this one.
Okay, M&A we are looking at, we have to burn first and then you have to earn. So that's a business model, and how do we optimize the cost there, and the engagement model, how we went about doing it. Next. So we all understand it demands a lot of upfront investment and unpredictable earnings at the time. So cost of customer relationship, industry research, internet-based research, physical visits, it's required. Then the business models, trying to put this strategy into a business model and financial analysis and information memorandum. Along with that, how do we leverage global talent, judiciously reduce the fixed cost, and go after more deals and mandates? How can Amano from Japan can go for more mandates? So that's the journey we're talking about. So we'll see how we identify the activities, how we identify, segregate roles and responsibilities, and how we went about making this happen. I mean, it's nice to talk as a concept and provide sense. So how we went about doing step by step, so you'll see that visibility. And what are the typical outputs you can expect from a service provider who is not in that market? If it's outside somewhere, what to expect and what type of output you can expect, which part you need to do your roles and responsibilities also. So this is a quick snapshot about my organization. We are in multiple industries fairly. We understand these industries and we provide solutions, technology solutions for all these industries. Like from hospitality, manufacturing, automotive, and insurance and entertainment. These are broadly, quickly the service we provide in technology. A quick thing, so you name any technology. Without technology, you can't move. Adam Global is all about technology, so we provide them good services across ERP and non-ERPs and mobility. So we have clients across these boards. So we are in existence for the last 11 years. And then there's the business process service. The interesting one might be the litigation support for Adams, where you have a lot of lawyers. So for bankruptcy court, we provide a continuous litigation support service in US. So some of your lawyers might find that pretty interesting. But other than that, we understand these domains very well and we provide solutions for them. We have robotic process automation also, which is these words. So any one of your client requires any one of these services, we can always provide. Thanks. Okay. M&A has got a buy side and sell side. We'll talk about the buy side first. Anybody is there, and then it could be a sell side. So typically there is a pre-due diligence phase and then an execution of due diligence and the deal negotiation. So we divide this into these buckets. So we find a deal advisor and a potential investor. So these are two players who play. Now, I just want to be clear as to what service we provide. We need to be very clear on this. Otherwise, things will fall in between two people, especially when you do the service. Next. So this is what we do, actually. We can't do this, okay? Whatever is moving this side is what the service we play. So we need to play in sync. We can't play in isolation. We need to play in sync. So we review the initial preliminary information memorandum, the target, the offer comments. I'm going to show you a few templates, the Excels and PPTs, what we typically provide. So it's a joint effort. You should leverage this. You can't pass the whole buck to us because we are not privy to the client. We don't see the client at all. I mean, you are engaging with them. But there's a lot of work behind that. Somebody has to do it. At least you should get a draft report so that you can play around that. So we've got a strong methodology. How do I present the strategy? So we use something called as an Alexander Osterwald model. The strategy will be present in that buckets so that we all talk the same lingo, right questions are asked, but the content will change depending on the client requirement. So the next one, okay. Preparation of information requests, the DD checklist. It's a very lengthy one. Typically in a DD you'll have 120 points because the client might not provide all the information, but at least you should know what are the questions. It could be 120 and 100. The last deal which you did, it was 120 points you could get. And if you go to Dubai and talk to you'll never have any information. So with the first cut information, you have to provide a financials. Then that will go through some 4-5 iterations. Somebody has to, at every stage your information improves, somebody has to do this rerun and then provide the information back. So this is a business model strategy, a sample which we use. This is a framework we use strongly so that we are in sync in terms of communicating the strategy very effectively. We don't use words which both of us don't understand. It will be a small thing, like from who is the customer first, what questions, what is the customer pain point, what the customer gains. So there are typical questions which flows through. What is the channel we are using to reach the customer? Like Adam Global is a channel for me to reach my customers in the US on the legal side. If I have to look at what is the customer relationship methodology? You said your automation technology, typically the video conferencing is how you are engaging your customers. I mean, just to elaborate to what you said. Then the value proposition, what we want to give. What are the key activities? Who are the key partners? What is the cost? And what's the revenue? So in these pillars, the whole strategy will be framed so that we talk in the same lingo. Otherwise, you can't have two different people operating this. Especially strategy, you'll get lost completely. So we have put a framework there which work very well, especially in the Japan. Imagine working with Japanese. Indians talk so very fast. Okay? Japanese talk so very slow. And you have to define things properly if you have to work with a Japanese person. If you don't get your steps right, you're buried. And that has worked. So we know step by step, a complex M&A process, we cut its size into step by step, clearly said, I will do this, you will do this. Very clearly defined rules. This is on the sales side, the same process, but still clear. These roles and responsibilities we need to clear, especially when you're working with partners in two different geography zones, when culturally we're very different. Clear understanding of expectations are very important. What we will do and what we cannot do. That's what it measures. Next. So if you want to leverage global talent, you need to clearly understand your roles and responsibilities, have frameworks which really works well for both of us so that we can collaborate very well. So typically you will get a Sriram, you want to take them through the...
Oh, sure, yes. Well, thank you, Ramesh. So gentlemen, so I'll just give a sample briefing of what we did with one of the Japanese-based listed company. So basically, the company, or Japan, wants to acquire a company out of the United States in the freight forwarding industry. I'll keep the name masked for the convenience of the confidentiality. So, this exercise was really futile because if the company wants to acquire, they want to expand in the United States where they have strong presence in Japan and China. So, whereas the target company out of the United States have got a strong presence in China, Taiwan, and the whole oceanic belt. So that's where the interest was more towards. So we worked with them in terms of, Amano was leading the deal, where I was supporting, and we were jointly supporting him in terms of legal, the tax side as well as in terms of client side. So we have a strong knowledge in terms of the cross-border taxation, cross-border financial due diligence. That's where the whole stuff comes from. So we have a team of 5 back in India who's supporting, and a couple of other advisors to go forward in the different places across the world. So these are the sample templates which I felt I should. So we should show you all of this across on the template driven. It is not exactly driven by one specific template because it differs from country to country, different geography, industry to industry. So the same freight forwarding industry in India would differ from what is in the United States and what is in the Middle East. So so we tailor make them to ensure that it is complementing everybody on the side, and we make the deal happen. So that's where it is. And so this is all about. So
Okay.
Quick questions.
You have any questions? Thank you. Ramesh and Sriram, it's a wonderful thing that we now can see a fusion between Adam and McMillan. Suhail's IT experts are now slowly lending onto the likes of Ramesh and his gang. And that's exactly what we want to do, because the last thing we want to have is the empire striking back, isn't it? India is now one hell of an empire. Well done to you. Now, our next speaker is Philip Vasey. Now, Philip is going to talk about London Stock Exchange. What he's going to talk specifically is the standard listing. There are various possibilities of getting to the market. This is the fastest route to the market, cheapest possible way to get to the market. So Philip,
okay,
all yours.
Well, we're not set up quite yet, but firstly, we're going through a subject which the stock exchange takes 112 pages.
Your life.
And lucky enough, I'm not going to recite it, so I'm going to summarize it in 10 slides. So that must be a relief to all of you. And Alexandra's kindly lent me all the stuff, which is great. That's perfect. Thank you so much. And I've been warned not to overrun. Every time Lucky talks to me, he takes 5 minutes off the time I've got to speak. So I haven't spoken to him for the last half an hour because I'll be down to 2 minutes otherwise. So anyway, Maxim has got expertise in Europe, USA, and Asia on flotations. We've also got panels of other advisors that help us, because you can't do a flotation on your own. You're going to need a reporting accountant. I'll go through it later, so I won't bore you with it now. But we have a business management approach, because I come from business management training. I was taught to be a business manager. And I'm talking about things that your clients, as McMillan Woods, will want you to talk about. So let's go on, so let's start doing that. What we believe, actually, is, as Lucky already said, he's stolen my thunder anyway, so what the hell, I may as well just give up. What do I hit? Next slide. Yeah. Is it me? Alexandra's so good at this. Anyway.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Alexander, why don't you sit over here?
Thank you so much. This one. Okay. Now, flotation for a company is a major step forward, and it's a serious pain in the neck. I'll be perfectly honest, I've done it. I've worked in public companies, I've helped to float public companies. It's very difficult, and it's something your clients would never have heard of before. So they're going to need some guidance. And you want somebody guiding them that understands business as well as somebody that understands how to float. And so you get an awful lot of jargon from people that handle flotations. You don't get it from us. We hand it over to other people to do the jargon, and we stand there as an interpreter. But anyway, but if you're going to float, everybody would like to do the best, really. And that's in the London Stock Exchange, I think. If you're looking at Europe, if you're looking at London, float at the London Stock Exchange if you can. The trouble is, it's normally wildly expensive. Now, they it brings huge benefits. It brings a brilliant profile for the company to find investors. It brings capital to the company because of very deep pools of liquidity in London. It's an ideal location. You've got prestige, all sorts of things. But usually, people, when they talk about the London Stock Exchange, talk about premium listing, which is for larger corporations, some of the largest companies in the world. What a lot of people don't talk about is you could do a standard listing. It was only introduced in 2009. It's ideal for smaller companies, and it costs a hell of a lot less. But the thing is this: both premium and standard listings are on the main market. Now, if you look at most investors, they don't really distinguish between premium and standard. You're listed on the London Stock Exchange, you're a candidate for being invested in, and that's as simple as that. But the standard listing, which I'm going to talk about more, is less rigorous, it's a lot cheaper, it's quicker, there's less due diligence, and if you're working with us, you don't have to. You need a team of advisors, but what we do is translate what they're saying into English, into business language. And we help people go through the process of main market standard listing. Now, this is very important because it really is main market, and it's not AIM, it's main market. So you can actually, you have to pay the FT for this, list in the pink pages of the FT. Now that's a huge boost for someone if they're coming from an emerging market and listing in London, because it just increases your profile immediately. Now, the premium, the main market's got about 2,000 members, maybe more, but 300 of those are actually standard listings. So I'm always amazed why standard listing isn't well known enough. And that's because advisors, to some extent, who might advise you, would tend to lean towards something that gives them a lot more income, because it costs a lot more to list on the main market. But standard listings are open to £1 million plus companies. That's quite small in listing terms. But it's hugely efficient because it is a main market listing. And they have access to the world's deepest pool of liquidity, that is money. And so we consider it an excellent start to even a small or medium company listing. Just go straight for standard listing. You can always move to a premium listing later on when you realise your ambitions. And you can afford to go to a premium listing. That's great. I got hit it with a hammer. Anyway, so why the London Stock Exchange? As I say, why not? Think London, think LSE, obviously. It's EU compliant base, that's the point. But it's a lower amount of due diligence to be a standard listed company. So it extends you become a premium company, but at a much lower cost. And it's also an alternative for venture capital, because venture capital is usually an interim thing, and that's why not just go straight onto the exchange and move up to premium listing later? It's an excellent entry, and yes, and it can be part of a useful, effective exit strategy and so on. You get a great, I've already said this, but you get a greatly improved profile and status, and you punch above your weight with investors. They're on the LSE. They're a good candidate to look at. You know, if you're on, and I hate to say this because we were advisors to ISDX, which is now called NEX, they don't carry the same weight as an LSE listing. So you're getting a lower cost listing for a much for the same price, more or less, as you would for a much less prestigious listing, and it helps you to recruit staff, because who doesn't want to work for an LSE company? Now, LSE standard listing. Now, there are a lot more people involved in a premium listing, but you do need, well, firstly, what we do is we project manage it. We translate everything those advisors tell you into plain English. And one problem about listing, and I've done this, I really do know about it, I still feel the pain, is you get to do things that you've never ever done before. Now, I was working with one company. We had a 4-page information memorandum. It translated to 200 pages of investigation and due diligence. Now, if you're a managing director of a company, 200 pages, you try and write in 200 pages, you've got nobody that can do it, because this is skill stuff. So you end up doing it yourself. What do you do? What happens to the company whilst you're doing it? It goes down a pan. So nobody wants to list you anymore anyway. So it's that kind of thing. So what we try and do is we try and take that weight off. That's what Maxim tries to do. But you still need a corporate advisor who handles the links with regulators and so on. You need reporting accountants, you need lawyers, you need solicitors and so on. And you will also need all these things afterwards. But the level of due diligence, if you like to call it that, is much, much lower for a standard listing. And I'll go through some of that later on. Can I press this button and see what happens?
It does work.
It did. Alexandra's actually helping me. Thank you so much. Doesn't need to do this. Okay, so you don't need a sponsor. You need a sponsor for a premium listing. And that really is a lot of work. That sponsor wants a lot out of you. It's much less stringent codes, and I really am summarizing here. You don't need 3-year accounts. You don't need 3 years asset control. You don't need as many revenue tests. You don't need as stringent a working capital statement. You don't need related party tests, etc. And you don't need full shareholder approval. So the whole thing moves through much quicker, but you're still on the main market. It may not be the same thing for everyone. We wouldn't necessarily advise everybody to go on a standard listing, but the thing about this one is people don't know about it. And what we would tend to do if we had a plan or looking for a standard listing, we would arrange beauty parades. Apologies if that sounds sexist. It means all you lovely solicitors and accountants around you would have to come in front of the company and say, this is why you should use us. So it's that kind of beauty parade. It's not the Donald Trump type of beauty parade. Anyway, we will guide the company management. I've got to be careful here because Lucky is giving me a funny look. We work together, and the general arrangement we have is that going over your time in a presentation is a capital offence, so you may never see me again. So I'm just going to talk very quickly. Okay. See what I mean? It's just like Joan Collins said about her husband. She said, your husband is much younger than you. She said, there's a very different age from you. He's much younger. She said, well, if he dies, he dies. That's exactly what Lucky more or less just said. Anyway, okay. So we coordinate and assist with all the preparatory work. What we try and do is take out that thing where the MD and the financial director have got to do this instead of managing the company. We try and take that out. We do it for them. Okay, that page. Let me see if I can get it to work. No, you carry on. It's much better than me. That's much better. So you can get all these privileges, benefits. There are some obligations. Don't get me wrong, but they're not as bad. You comply with the LSE and the UKLA. The UK is the UK Listing Authority rules. You announce all price-sensitive information. Those things don't change, but they don't change if you're on a much less prestigious exchange too. And your shares must be freely transferable. All those things you have to do. So we're not trying to pretend they disappear, but a lot of the more onerous stuff does disappear, and it means you can go much more quickly. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. I didn't work, even Alexander didn't work, at least that Philippe. Oh, no, I'm afraid I'm one of those people that taxation bores the pants off me. So that's why this is such a short slide. There are many significant tax advantages. Benefit standard listed companies and their shareholders. You qualify for venture capital trusts. All your tax people around me will know what that means. We will advise individual clients in full. Now I like short tax slides because, as I say, tax bores me to tears. Let's go to the next one here. Okay, now, costs and timescale of a standard listing. And remember again, this is on the main market. Comfortable 6 to 9 months, but you can actually get a standard listing on the main market, the London Stock Exchange, in 3 to 4 months. But that's quite a short time, believe me. And you can raise up from £1 million. There are costs, and these are the costs, but there is an initial admission fee for the LSE. There are initial professional costs. And there are annual membership fees to the LSE, fees to corporate advisors. But for the initial IPO, you could, provided you're a relatively small company, you could budget about 100K or less for a relatively small fundraise. I say relatively small, maybe up to 10 million, 5-10 million fundraise. Now, death arises here again, and this is partly because of the death threat I'm under. But there are what people in the profession called drop-dead fees. In other words, so your solicitor's going to want an initial fee of maybe, £5,000 to £10,000. Your accountant's going to want an initial fee. But if the float doesn't actually happen for all kinds of reasons, the kind of things that Alexander was referring to, when the people come back and say, no, sorry, we don't like you anyway, but we thought we did, but we don't. The only thing you will be stuck with is drop-dead fees of about 20 to 25,000. The rest of the fees you can pay after admission, And most advisors for a standard listing will take that remaining 80% of their fees after admission. So the drop dead fees are just enough to pay for your funeral. So, but the other unquantified costs that you save an awful lot on is management time and attention. Believe me, I've seen people doing flotations that really they've practically stopped managing their companies for 6 months. Well, by that time the company's gone, so by the time it gets to float, you've lost all the value anyway. So we know you have to manage the company, so we take a lot that way. We know what's needed, and we will be budgeting to help you reduce that. Now, I've got one more slide. So just to summarize, am I okay now?
You're just.
Am I live?
If you finish that slide.
Okay, yeah.
Fine.
It's just unfair. Prestigious European, worldwide, based in London. It really is. LSE, New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, and some European exchanges, the Deutsche Börse and so on. I'm not saying, but it's one of the top stock markets on which to float, and you're getting it a lot cheaper than you would expect, and it's credible access because if somebody looks you up, you're on the LSE, or you're not on AIM, you're on the LSE main market. It's a good vehicle for exit planning and enhances the company visibility. There are additional obligations, but that applies to any flotation on any market. You've got additional obligations for the company to observe once they're floated. But at the same time, they're good for corporate governance, and they're good to attract more investors because you're there. And the London stock market can be pretty strict. It's a dominatrix type of market, and you've got to behave. And so you're on the main market, so you will behave. But we just think it is a very good, very cost-effective way of getting a flotation.
All right.
I think I finished.
Philip, that was super.
That was fast.
And your behaviour was exemplary. Now, we no doubt that I know it's been a long run. We've had more information than we can handle. I mean, almost to the point of ad nausea. But the good news is now we're coming to a close, and I'd like to invite Raymond for some closing remarks and a vote of thanks. So Raymond, and I should add, for those who don't know, he is the president of what are we called? McMillan Woods. That's right.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So we're just going to move that.
All right. In the interest of time, thank you to all the speakers, and in particular to Dr. Dahul. Thank you for the trust in us, and I do believe that McMillan Woods and Adam Global, we will work together in the spirit of goodwill. I'm one big believer. Talking about timing, everything happens for a reason. It doesn't matter when. It always happens for a good reason. And I'm sure Dr. Dahul will agree with me that each and every one of us, as members of the network, it is what we can put in, what we can contribute to the network before we expect anything from the network. Would that be true to say? And whatever we do, we're going to enjoy, okay, each other in this network. We have a grace period of that 2 years, and let's work together on this. Would there anything add on, while they are moving the bag, for the signing ceremonies?
Completely agree with what you said. It's about having fun while we journey together.
Absolutely. Great. I was just sharing a little exchange. What about CCH? Since our friend gave us the idea that CCH prices have been going down, share price, right? Yeah. We should look into acquiring CCH. Imagine, Adam Global and McMillan Woods will acquire CCH, that would give it a big bang, wouldn't it? On that note, thank you very much, and we're going to enjoy lunch and have this signing ceremonies, yes?
Yes. And group photo as well afterwards.
And a group. That is not my job.
Just make a second. All right, can we invite the Chairman Adam Global and President McMillan Woods. Raymond, you expect to see over here, and we will use the finest pen in the country. Can I be allowed? That's right.
Here you can take care of it.
Absolutely, two finest pens. Oh, it works.
No, here.
It works.
Unless, of course, you choose to use your own pen.
All right.
By the way, those pens have owners, yes?
So owners.
Owners, keepers.
Okay. Can we have...
Keepers, owners.
Can you moderate? You want to sit on this stack? Sit. Cheryl, will you stand next to behind Raymond? Yeah. Jayapal, where's Jayapal? Oh, good, Jayapal. Could you stand next to Cheryl? Closer to Rahil. I know. Okay, that's good. Just stand. Forgive me. I think. No. I think this is crowded as it is.
Can you take a picture from the back? Sorry.
I know.
Yeah, you need it. So you take that.
It should be on. I think it'd be nice. Just one second. We just got Alexander to next to Kafi.
Okay, then balance.
I think it's nice balance, yeah.
Okay, shall we? Ready?
Yes, please. I think if you could sit down. Don't rush to start, just take a deep breath. I think we're going to take a few more shots. Looking very good. Okay. Unfortunately, we can't say anything about the lights. They're not exactly the best, but we'll bear up. Right, I think, yes, you can. Can you drop the pen? No, don't shift, it's not cards. Start again. Can you return? Cheryl, can you pick it up?
Thank you.
And madam, pick it up. And then can you walk?
We should have a rehearsal. We should have a rehearsal.
And yeah.
Thank you.
That's much better. Yeah. And stay where you are because this is lovely.
Drop the pen.
Drop the pen. Wonderful. We've done it.
Handshake.
And we're going to shake hands. We're going to pass to each other. All right?
Maybe you present
So,
it.
Yes.
Okay. Yep, that's good.
This is going to be simple.
That was the best way to do
It's like Chinese business.
it. Right.
I like that. That reminds me of Trump.
Can you get that camera?
Sorry.
That camera, please.
We should hold both like
Yes.
that.
Zoom.
Like that.
Good.
Just one ceremony picture, please. You can stand after the table, please.
More instructions. Ready? Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations too.
Wonderful. Now, consummated our relationship. Thank you so much. May I please take this
Can we take a picture?
Yes, may I please take the opportunity to just give a small memento to from Adam to McMillan Wood.
Thank you.
Very well.
I must make up for this. Oh, okay, now you take a pic, take a pic.
And one more,
Okay.
one more for all the hard work done by Jack.
It's not over until.
I think you said so.
The press release.
No, exactly. There is.
So there's a press release ceremony as you announced declaring it.
Yes, we're about to. Well, yeah. Let me go around the room inside. So you conduct this.
Yeah. So just include the camera as it's press release. I think if you can both sit down, yeah, they look more like a press release. And you can declare it in the maximum.
Any questions?
I'm going to include the mic in here.
The mic is not on. It's not for some reason.